who were on earlier, but I'll go through all the arrangements. So thank you very much for signing on to do this. The way we're going to do it is I've listed everybody as they booked a place, and then I'm going to use a random number generator to give us the order of reading. Really, that's just to try and get everybody a fair chance at an audience rather than people, and I'm not saying anybody would, but people coming in, reading and going. So by all means, leave your screen if you have to get a drink on it to the loo or everything. If we need it, we'll have a break in the middle of 5 minutes or so, but we might be able to just crack on. I've worked it out that if everybody does the 5 minutes, and please stick as close as you can to that, otherwise we'll be still going into midnight. We should get done about 10:30 maybe, but let's see how we go. If I lose signal or anything happens that knocks me offline, Jeff's going to step in and pick it up, but obviously he hasn't got a number generator or the list of people, so he'll just pick you out if that happens. So we were going to start with, and are you recording, Johnny? Yeah, right, it's recording, right. So we're recording tonight as well, so it'll be there if people want to pass it on tomorrow on Facebook and let people have a look at it who didn't necessarily join us. Okay, so I can't think of anything else, so we might as well make a start. So I will generate the first number.
Lottery.
One other thing, if you try and keep your mics as silent as possible while people are reading, otherwise it'll switch the mic to you. I've said to the other people, if you know how to and want to, you can mute your mic while you're off. But the first person that's come out on the number generator to start us off tonight, please welcome Neil McBride.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Okay, so I've got a little couple to kick you off. This is called The Derry Ma. The Derry mother calls to tell me everyone who's dead. And Kathleen from the Lecky Road has a tumour in her head. And Mrs. O'Hearn from Pennyburn was taken by the cancer, and her was always healthy and fit, and her used to be a dancer. And that wee girl, you know, from Drumahoe, whose daddy owned the farm, well, she took her own life with a Stanley knife when she overdid the self-harm. And the boy from that band that you can't stand, who has glasses like John Lennon, was found, she swears, at the foot of his stairs in his bungalow in Kilfennan. And the wee round man from Irish Street, they reckon, was touching kids, though he always said that he never, and they never proved that he did. Well, he was all but 97 when it came his time to go, when he crumpled up on the pavement after slipping in the snow. And the girl he went to school with, whose brother played the bass, has a cousin in the Cregan with a birthmark on his face. Well, her Uncle John, the bread man, will never more be seen, for they buried him last morning playing 40 Shades of Green. And with hands curled tight with arthritis, poor Mary from the bog can't lift the teacup to her mouth, so she laps it like a dog. And bent double, so as you'd notice, is Magella from Springtown, because of osteoporosis, her future's looking down. And young Egypt took a header and came off his motorbike, and this one's dead and that one's dead, both young and old alike. Someone's uncle, someone's auntie, someone's cousin, someone's da, and this one's niece and that one's nephew, your man's old doll and her old doll's ma. From Gallia and Chantallo, they're dropping just like flies, and Hazelbank and Clooney, they mourn each one who dies, and up the way in Rosemount, they're falling out of the trees, and well, that's just a joke for Derry folks, but if you got it, you'd think I was really funny indeed. And from Steelstown, Currynearin, Ballymagrody, new buildings, Tullyally, out the Galvin, Brahenless, Neilfoyle, Springs, she counts them all off one by one as gradually they fall, and she marks each single passing by giving me a call. Perhaps it's to prepare me, so haps that I can learn that one day someone else will call to say it was her turn. This is weird, but really lovely. Okay, this is a lot of people having a few mental health issues during lockdown, and this is the Depression Shanty. I am the fire that went out. I am the whisper, not the shout. I have no connections and none of the clout, so what's the point of me? I'm the car that doesn't start, I'm the clock that stopped your heart. I hit the first bump and I fall apart, so what's the point of me? I've got writer's block and nothing's flowing. I'm a pot plant that stopped growing, well I never really got going, so what's the point of me? I'm the rage that was pacified. I am the ambition that died, well I never even really tried, so what's the point of me? So what's the point of me, boys? What's the point of me? I'm the clock that doesn't tick. I'm the hooker without a trick. I'm ashamed of my own dick, so what's the point of me? I'm a rent boy who stopped blowing. I'm a cock who stopped crowing. I'm not omnipotent or all-knowing, so what's the point of me? I'm always there. I'm never there, and I'm always late. Everything you say and do makes me irate. I am the friend that you love to hate, so what's the point of me? So what's the point of me, boys? What's the point of me? I'm the fly half who cannot kick. I get in your nerves. You get in my wick. I'm a self-loathing, arrogant, misanthrope prick, so what's the point of me? I'm a bag that's unattended, a broken thing that can't be mended. I'm too cowardly to end it all, so what's the point of me? So what's the point of me, boys? What's the point of me? I can't stand up for feeling low. I'm trapped by the pyroclastic flow of my own volcanic rage and hate that presses its enormous weight on the slender sanity to which I cleave in this prison cell. I cannot leave. I eat, I sleep, I shit, I breathe. But what's the point of me?
Oh, Neil, thanks for going first, mate. Appreciate it.
That's all cool, man. My pleasure.
Right, next number. Okay, mate of mine won't sing for a little while, but he's back on the poetry circuit doing his thing. Brilliant poet. Please welcome Pete Slater.
There we go. Can you hear me now? I'm unmuted.
Can you hear me, mother?
Oh, I can hear me, mother. Hi, lad. Got a proper accent there, Ian. Okay, this is just a few thoughts that I've had last few months, and it's called Human. Lay them down on the devil's bed, those who smile as the rivers run red, the unsympathetic cold right-wingers, war purveyors and chaos bringers. They live in a fantasy land, make their living with blood on their hands, sitting safely in judgment in ivory towers. The unelected few are abusing their powers, effusing austerity, creating disablement blues, slashing benefits and turning the screw on the vulnerable, not giving a fuck about the homeless and hopeless down on their luck. A healthy economy is what we're being told. Healthy for some, but not if you're old. When you can't afford to eat or heat your home after cutting your budget down to the bone. Struggling finance to make ends meet. Turn on the one bar or get something to eat. It's all about exiting this Brexit thing. Come on, risk it, fix it and cut the strings. Then try and mend the national health at the poor and distribute wealth. So, everybody has enough to eat. It isn't really that tough to beat. The wealthy are more than they'll ever need. Their every action is driven by greed. Arming nations, prolonging war, justified by settling scores. There has to be a better way. We can't win the wars on the other side of the planet, but we can make the world a better place to inhabit. So lay the warmongers on the devil's bed. We'll see Earth's rivers no longer running red. Let the Lord of Darkness decide their fate. Of course they'll seek absolution, but it'll be too late. Peace and harmony will be headline news. Even the homeless will be wearing shoes. Now off the streets they can finally thrive. Even vulnerable will celebrate being alive. It can be. It will be one world, one race, the human race. Thank you. So, now then, this is just one I wrote when I was feeling a bit sorry for himself, I suppose. It's called To Whom It May Concern. Okay. My feelings hanging from the ceiling, just out of reach. Now, isn't that a peach of a situation? While I'm looking for salvation, hope is hanging by a hook. Not exactly textbook for romance, but maybe I have a chance. If I can jump and grab those feelings, stop them swinging from the ceiling, and snatch the dangling hope, and then cut the imagined rope, shackling me to the ground. Ignore the shifting background and concentrate on my need. I want to love, laugh, share my seed, but without feelings, love is hollow. And that's a reality that's hard to swallow. Leaving laughter for a later date and sharing seed to permeate slowly through the haze. Oh, happy days. I can't feel happy, can't feel sad. I can't feel good, can't feel bad. I can't feel anything without hope. Maybe I'll find a length of rope is a solution to my quandary. Or would that be pushing the boundary a bit too far? Maybe I'll just have to grow. Give genuine emotion a chance to flow. Then maybe my feet can leave the ground, giving me a chance with a single bound to grab my feelings and snatch back hope, place my love in an envelope and seal it with a kiss. Address it to a certain miss. Or maybe it will have to be to whom it can concern. Thank you very much.
Hello, Pete.
Thanks.
It's really weird having, because I do two open mic nights. One's in Wakefield and one's in Wigan. And looking at here, I can see both audiences at the same time. It's spooky. Okay, random number. Please welcome our third poet, Catherine West McGrath.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, my first one is called On Valentine's. On Valentine's, I went to church on a busy Dublin street to find remains of a Roman saint I thought I ought to meet. His few remains were locked inside that small reliquary. I felt his spirit yearn to leave, no more a prisoner be. I kissed the chest that with him in had reached the Irish shore, and I imagined you right there, so thought of you some more. On leaving, I felt winter sun, faint blue broke through the cloud. I found myself in Temple Bar among its young crowd. Each one of you had visited the Dublin streets had tread, either to live or passing through, this then your common thread. Some conversations I recall, I listened then more than, but sure we walked its many streets, no long-term love your plan. And each new meeting pushed me on to find who I should be, till in that Dublin street I knew my one true love was me. Retracing steps I did return, went back to find the place, a pilgrimage to Valentine, his holy sacred space, to tell him all that I had learnt my task, compassion was our key, and with that key I turned the lock to set the poor saint free. Thank you. Okay, second one is Whose Story. Who wants to hear my story? Who decides what I can tell? Does my gender or my skin tone state if others know it well? Whose feet are elevated? How do they take the stage? Whose hand can hold the mic? Whose letters form the page? Does power hold the high bar that lets one version through? Or money say my blunt vowels should not be listened to? If my legs are made of steel wheels or my vision is too blind, does it mean my short novellas are not worthy of your mind? Or because my mind was broken where I scrambled down to hold, does it mean the words I rescued should be left out in the cold? Do the rules around my grammar make me fear to ask you why, lest a mark put in the wrong place means I shouldn't even try? Do you seek to silence my voice if my accent isn't clean, so you feel justification to ignore the words I mean? Does the length of my flowing locks lock me out of the debate? Or because I hide my features mean no place for my portrait? But I know one day you'll hear me, and my story will get through. My colours lit so vibrant, then you'll have to see what's true. For my chapters will explain how all these stories came to be, and my words will fill the white space in your books of history. You'll want to hear my story, you'll strain to see my view, for the story of the unheard may be your story too.
Brilliant, Catherine. Excellent, well done. Just noticed a couple of people who aren't on the reading list. Daniel, are you wanting to read tonight? You wanted to read or not? You're just watching. Good man. Right, okay. The fourth person to read tonight. I'm glad to see he's looking a bit better because he's not been well. But don't worry, it's not that horrible thing that everybody's staying in for. But he's looking a lot better tonight. Although I can't say the same for his haircut. Please welcome our fourth reader, Brian Ratcliffe.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a heart attack 4 weeks ago, but I'm getting on well. And thanks to the people who've been on my support. Yeah. These things happen.
Just after the last poetry night.
It was after a Joe Wicks seniors 10-minute session, which I now think of as Joe Wicks tries to kill off seniors. But that's
Don't do that, Brian. Don't do that.
Not now. I'm not allowed. Anyway, I've been struggling a bit with lockdown, but my answer to it is humour. So this is called Losing It in Lockdown. I catch myself in the mirror and soon decide enough's enough. I cannot get to the barbers. I'm looking like a total scruff. There's only one solution now. Do some thinking outside the box. So I become the barber and DIY my dishevelled locks. And now that all that white hair's gone, I'm like a massive snooker ball. Do I resemble a Zen monk? Could be a convict, after all. Thank you. My second poem is very much related to the first. It's a kind of love poem, I suppose. It's called Keepsake. Now that I look like a hard-boiled egg, I don't need a comb in my pocket. And as I chucked all the white hair out, there's none to keep inside your locket. Thank you. Laugh at yourself.
You got another one?
No, that's it. That's it.
All right.
Sure.
I've decided, Brian, that rather than cut my hair, now is the time to regrow the mullet I had when I was 20. So by the time lockdown finishes, I'll look like Bono from 1984. Only a white-haired version.
Wolf in sheep's clothing springs to mind.
Just an excuse. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but here's the good excuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, next poet. Another Write Out Loud Wigan regular. Please give a big round of applause to Natasha Tingle.
Hi. Okay, so I've got two poems, and one is about the lockdown. You're going to kick yourself afterwards and try and remember the words, but you'll see why in a minute. We're all in the same situation, so you'll know the things I miss. The sweet pleasure has gone out of life. It's hard to encounter the twisted bounty of nature, those melt on your tongue flakes of moments that come from other people, unpredictable in their utterings and mix-ups. We are awakened to the mystery we had such ready access to before. An aeronautic twirl betwixt light and dark, ancient minstrels with flutes declaring in our faces the cosmic egg of chaos. It has given us a boost to examine creation, our curling galaxy, the Milky Way, on a small button moon scale. It has made us have a break and laugh together, or perhaps snicker at one another, but laugh all the same. But how profoundly we miss it, like a whispered lion's roar oozing and rippling its way into our awareness. Yes, we're all in the same situation, not enough chocolate. And for anyone who didn't pick up on it, I've just named 22 different types of chocolate bars and snuck in a jingle. So there we go.
Are you earning money from this?
I wish. I know
I
what
didn't
I'd
get any of them.
The box full tomorrow.
I thought I'd end on quite a happy note with the first poem in my book, which is called Paper Boat. To turn your life into a paper boat, fold a corner of childhood firmly into the center of your daily life. Crease it firmly to make sure it stays there and cannot be dislodged by further turns, twists, and folds your life will soon undertake. The other three corners to follow in clockwise order are love, passion, and flexibility. Love is self-evident to be a key component in any successful life. Passion will be the power source that propels your finished boat. Flexibility will ensure the relevant folds can be made despite this causing upheaval to your accustomed formation. Try to be accurate in your folds, but also acknowledge that you are using hand-woven paper made unique by its method of making and the people involved in the process. And although this is not ideal for origami, it will indeed make a beautiful boat. Fold your paper into quarters lengthways. This longitudinal aspect will expose the streaks of color that run through life in the direction of time. Look carefully at the streaks in the paper. If one side shows darker than the other, rearrange so that the darker times are exposed. These experiences will toughen and protect the hull of the boat when submerged, leaving the lighter colors on view. Fold the dark side into an fold the dark side up into overlapping triangles. Although it will seem strange to bunch up and intensify your problems in this way, bear in mind that this is just an interim step, a side effect of the process, and not dissimilar to other times you've felt this overwhelmed. Now for the hardest part. Carefully and gently, but also firmly and with constant pressure, push on the lumps where the dark triangles of your life overlap. This process will turn your whole life inside out before your eyes in a most unexpected way, and before you will bloom a beautifully decorative boat. What is most remarkable is that the flat bottom of this boat is now an expanse of the most wonderful times of your life, untouched and not a crease in sight. It's all pure you, and it shows in equal parts your youth, your passion, your adaptability, and your love. The true test, though, is not in how a life looks, but in how it functions. So, gently lower your boat into tepid water and watch it maneuver the eddies and waves that disturb its path. One thing can be said for sure: it will carry you further than a life left flat. Thank you.
Thanks, Natasha. Now we've got a poet who's travelled furthest to be with us tonight. I only know him as being a Scouser from Liverpool. So I got and he told me he had to be on early because Turkey's 2 hours ahead. Give it up, please, for David Mellor.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I've just got 3 small poems. They're all based on what's happening now. The first poem is called The Daily Count of Lives. 746, 6 fell in love more than 4 times. 673, 20 had no regrets. 714, 5 could still feel their first kiss. 643, 27 looked at photos of their loved ones in the morning. 547, 7 had a contagious laughter. 517, 100 regretted their beauty had faded. 468, 35 had worked in the same job all their lives. 573, 8 had won awards for their services to others. 375, 65 had been broken-hearted. 817 had touched 1 million souls. 917, all had been loved by someone behind every number. Thank you. And in the same sort of vein, I'm sorry about this, the bells aren't ringing. The bells are ringing with a deafening hum. No one at the graveyard, no one at the birth. The bells are missing in a chamber of lies. No one knows the real death figures because all governments lie. The shrill bells are ringing in our lonely, tortured bed. The virus is multiplying and multiplying in our heads. The bells are falling silent as forgiveness spreads. Our lonely citizens are crying out instead. Thank you. And finally, a lot of people are going to die in silence. This mortal life. This mortal life seems thinner now. As we move away from the old and the sick relatives, and we keep a safe distance, see everyone as a potential disease. This moral life seems thinner now. And in a darkened room, all alone, she sits, tapping her fingers, hoping the bell will ring or someone will call. Her mortal life thinner now. She's passing away, all alone. Thank you.
And David. Thanks for that, mate. What's the weather like there?
Hey, it's warm. Very warm, mate.
Oh, it's cracking pavements here, mate.
Where is it? 23?
It's about 12 degrees. Thanks for that, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Next up, a young lady who I have been privileged to perform at her open mic and guest poetry show that she has in Wakefield, where I'm from. It's called Jackanory. And if you want to sign up and be there at some point when we get out of this, or even online, then let her know tonight when we get to the end. But please give it up for a very good friend of mine, Halima Mayers.
Thank you for that, Ian. None of my poems have a title. I wrote this one about the theme of roles. There are some roles I detest. roles I have outgrown, like damsel in distress, but it is a familiar role I fall into. But there are some roles I enjoy, like volunteer or a friend, where I adapt the script to provide help and support to the best of my ability. And there are roles yet to come. Thank you. I discovered a map of you. Clearly labelled were your houses, your schools, your cars. But that didn't interest me. My destination was the journey you had travelled to be the person you are now. I wanted to see the trees strewn in your path, representing the obstacles you had overcome, or deep, dark forests, your lowest points in life when no sunshine entered your life, or rivers and lakes, the refreshing zest of a beautiful sight, or journeys yet to be taken. Thank you. And that's all I've got.
All right, Halima, that's enough. Well done. Thank you. Okay. Oh dear, trouble coming. So someone else who I'm very familiar with, mainly because usually I'm stood alongside him with a microphone recently. He will no doubt tell you that he's got a book out because he's from that place of dark satanic mules called Bolton. Will you please give it up for my very good friend, Jeff Arama?
Hey.
Evening all. Yeah, I've had a couple of books out here, but it's not about me tonight. You'll be pleased to hear. I'm just going to do one poem, and it's a bit of a rant. It follows on in the COVID theme, the coronavirus. It's a bit of a rant against those who keep trotting out the same lines every night. We're doing everything we can. We're following the science. And don't get Pete Slater going on. We're ramping it
up. Oh, you've read it, have you, Jeff?
I've read it, man. It's also a rant about people doing nothing to fight the cause against coronavirus. But mainly it's a tribute to the people that we've just been applauding on the streets, the key workers, and of course the NHS workers, specifically those who've lost their lives. And it's called To You With Your Empty Words. Sorry, that's the start of it. It's called To You Who Gave Everything. To you with your empty words, your hollow promises and lies. To you who ignored simple orders to stay at home, just stay inside. To you who scam the vulnerable, exploiting their struggle and plight. And you, the perpetrators of abuse, the fear you create is all that we despise. You gave nothing, absolutely nothing, in our darkest hour, this tragic time. But to you, who kept the country running, you have our love, you have our pride. To you, who deliver essential goods and the thousands of miles that you drive. To you, who stack the shelves, the shop workers on the front line. And to you, who stayed at home, clapping for carers on Thursday nights. To you, delivering post and emptying bins, the length and breadth of the land. To you, in communities supporting folk that need that helping hand. To you, the volunteers and key workers, together you're making a stand. Selfless actions fighting an enemy none of us really understands. And to every one of you, caring for the sick, every single hour, risking your own lives, never shirking your duties once, despite the danger you might find. Yes, you who gave everything, you gave us hope in these worrying times. Our hearts are filled with gratitude. We owe you all our lives. Thanks, solidarity.
Well said, Jeff.
Thanks, Ian.
Jeff is a songwriter with me and Barb Company. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our entire tour to support the new album because it hit just as coronavirus broke.
Oh,
so
shit.
that's the sort of luck we have. We'll be back.
Was that a tour of Wigan, Ian?
It wasn't. I tell you what, we were getting around a bit, mate.
Leeds,
We've rescheduled some of them, but they're still for June, can you believe? So they're still going to be not done, I don't think. Right, okay, I can't see him, but I've been having messages from him that he's on, so I don't know how this works. He might be further down the screen than I can see. But if he is on, could you please get it up for Francis Gorm?
Hello.
Yay.
I'll just change my background. Sorry. Sorry for my lateness, but I've got a really, really old laptop and I think it's beginning to die. Oh yeah, there you go. How are you doing? This is like a poem about, I've got this alabaster bust that I bear an uncanny resemblance to. There it is. Same bone structure. I also used to have mutton chops just like it. So I've written a poem about, from the point of view of the alabaster bust. I don't know if it's possible for us to, like, if I can interact with anyone on here, because it's kind of a, if anyone wants to play along, I can, like, I don't know if that's possible.
No idea, mate. You're talking to a load of techno
well,
dinosaurs, I think.
I'll start with you, Ian, and then I'll just go on with the poem. If you had to, what characteristics do you share with a mineral?
Mineral?
Which rock would you say that you most resembled?
Hard as diamond, mate. Hard as diamond.
I don't have a poem about a diamond, so I'll give you two options. Are you as hard as granite or as flaky as sandstone?
Hard as granite.
Granite! When I were granite, I gobbled drain like a gannet, but now I'm alabaster millstone. I'm wheat and you're chaff. You've all the class and gravitas of a gravel drive. You do languish in the garden centre, stranded amidst the water features. You're your own albatross, milestone to my progress, because I'm alabaster. I'm alabaster. Anyone else want to play along? I'll pick someone. Lorenzo Guazzano. If you had to describe yourself as a rock, would you be sandstone or chalk?
Chalk.
Chalk! When I were chalk, barefooted girls in favelas scrubbed out my hopscotch spine and rubbed me out. But now I'm alabaster. Will you may balk at the promotion, even as whiteboards make you redundant? Chalk. You do powder the palms of rock climbers in aid of the molestation of your betters by their betters, whilst my master scales the sculptural heights of my alabaster features. Because I'm alabaster. I'm alabaster. Anybody else want to play along? Kevin Hoban, you look like you're enjoying it. If you had to pick a rock, would you describe yourself as marble or sandstone? Right, I think I did a lip read there. I think you said sandstone.
Yeah, I did sandstone, yeah.
Sandstone! When I was sandstone, I too built castles to the sea's moat. And believe me when I say with wholehearted sincerity, I don't like to gloat, but the tide turns and I am returned alabaster. Now you are the panickety picnicker's worst nightmare. You are the shameful reminding itch of the lover's gritty amorous sandwich. Oh, you do chortle in your glass girdle as you put eggs to yolk. Emery board does fine work, sandblaster, for you scour graffiti from the walls of council estates, whilst I greet visitors ensconced in the naves of noble estates. Because I'm alabaster. I'm alabaster. But I'm not too good for you. You see, when I was slate, I cut wood with the best, but now I'm alabaster, you tool. We both get dug up, but my display case gets more footfall because On the bell of the museum, ball from antique Greece to ancient Rome, neoclassical exhibitions ensconced within gentry walls. No stone is so deified as me, except, perhaps, arguably, for that marvellous wannabe lap dancer of the Louvre. Now let me tell you something. When I were an aspirational plinth hopper, I were forced to kiss the bare soles of a legitimate pilgrim's feet. Now I gaze from cathedral's vaulted peak at those poor bastards' balding pates and your stripy flooring. Where is your Michelangelo now, kitchen work surface? And although I have no hands, and therefore no smite to smite back at those who may cause me contusions and so be placed above me on the Mohs hardness scale of mineral hardness, that hierarchy you understand is wholly specious, merely a man-made means of identification through discrimination, because I'm as hard as nails. I work my way up through metamorphic force majeure and damn good looks. And you can call it Deus Ex Machina or strategy applied. One cannot deny that I have arrived. Although it's all for naught in the final analysis, isn't it? It's all for vanity, because aren't we all destined to be in that post-apocalyptic end of history, one part of that final recombobulated cosmic molten soup? And yet, I reached the apogee, and you were pulp. And this is the way the bourgeoisie go. Establish the limits, set up the goals, so the house always wins. I didn't make the rules. I just cashed in.
Thanks, Francis. Hello, mate. Next up, we've got a poet who once judged my team into second place against the swine that are Leeds when Wakefield should have won, and I will never forgive her. But anyway, please welcome her anyway. Rose Drew.
Thank you. My mic is on. Yes, good. All right. Okay, I've got two poems, and one I can just do just now because it's the end of April. It's an old poem. Spring comes to Barbara Drive. In April, Emmy and I discover spring. She, as an almost 4, has never really noticed, and I have forgot. I've been running on automatic for so long, things get done, but colors don't really register. Too frivolous. Actually, nature started to slip back into my life that past autumn, when Em and I would gawk and stare at all the glorious trees everywhere. Quite a show for a 3-year-old. We would marvel at the colors all the way back from preschool or the market and look out from the windows at home. But with spring, we are shocked. Such vivid paint nature uses. Bushes are violet and yellow and 3 kinds of pink, her favorite color. And we barely drive as we gape along, horns beeping behind. We don't care. We snap pictures and gaze lovingly at God. We become jealous, a little, of all the pink trees and the white ones that people so many yards, filling them with glory. Pink and white trees, we want some too, and we talk about it a lot. And so one warm spring day, we drive from school and turn down the short block home, our whole yard crosswise in front of us, a yard filled with white dagwoods everywhere. I am so surprised my foot falls from the pedal and we drift to a stop. We grin happily at each other. White trees, we exclaim. The yard is crammed with them. We contribute to spring, after all. Spring has come to Barbara Drive after 5 years of winter. Always too busy or sad to see each spring, when nature would hopefully, proudly show me her beauty, her annual renewal of life. I'm getting better, I realize. I can see spring once more. And the car and I start up again. And we go home to admire our springtime garden. It's interesting I ended up doing that because I'm finally so bored. I'm doing stuff I've been putting off for years, and I'm sorting through old photographs while listening to the poetry, and I'm seeing my daughter pass my eyes at age 6, and she's 29 now, you know.
It happens.
So it's kind of neat. It's kind of now. This is a poem I wrote in. I was in Winchester. It's all old poems. So sorry. I was in Winchester and I was at a writing prompt, and they said write about a city you know, and then write about an area in the city, and write about one place in the city. And the theme had to be the defining characteristic of the city. And I worked for a year in Miami. I'm from Florida. So Miami hot, because that is the defining characteristic of Miami. Miami hot. Miami hot, hairdryer full blast, sun white pavement, ground glass tarmac. Miami hot, it burns my eyes. Tiny lizards rush all over, cross white pavement, cross black street, up the branding iron of the post box, onto sparkly cement seats, up the palm trees, through my kitchen, little lizards everywhere. Parrots squawking, parrots shrieking, parrots screaming all the night, parrots shitting, quickly learning, well, no one wants to eat that tree. Miami's hot and full of liars, con artists on the game, mafia and red hot ripoffs. City Hall is on the take. You're swindled by your lawyer, your own boss, the housing board, the one who sold you her old flat and left a debt. Miami, hotbed of ethnic hatreds, for the newbie, for the tourist, for the black kids down from Philly, for the innocent, for the fool. Miami hot, and I'm more mobile. It's so hot, I've lost my cane. So hot, I'm feeling youthful and I find some work again. So hot, we're at the bars, but never at the beach. That white hot coast of South Beach is really ground glass mixed with sand. Though Alan likes that beach, that hot sparkly sand on hot white bum, because it's topless. Glimpse hot Hollywood, Lady Gaga, Richard Gere, DiCaprio, Ving Rhames in his fuck you t-shirt. Alan almost mows down Yoko. True story. On the hot and sandy streets, pastel houses, fadey orange, sky blue, hot pink, and dusty green. Lincoln Road with all the tourists, filled with hot and sweaty tourists. Lincoln Road, the best mojito, the movie theater, the Buddhist shop. Lincoln Road that leads to sand, that white hot beach that's really glass. Then out past Washington with the strip bar, onto Ocean, Versace boutiques, for the tourist or the rich or the students on hot break. But back to Lincoln and to the laundry bar. Slogan, come get sloshed while you do your wash. So hot, I love the coolness, but so late I'd lose that wash. The laundry bar where I am welcomed, where I find my games of pool. Laundry bar where no one tells me they don't play against a girl. Because laundry bar is a hot gay bar, because I'm lonely here on Sobe, Miami hot, and I'm at loose ends. After work, the crew heads off. And I play pool inside a laundromat and laugh and drink and dance. Friday night, it's rain and men. A giant woman growls the blues. Hot Miami, summer evening, the sun is gone, the road's still warm. Walking midnight with the lizards in my glitter moonlit home.
Brilliant, Rose. Well done.
Nice one.
Thanks.
Right, next up, it's me. And I think we'll have a break after this one, so Brian can do whatever he needs to do. I'm going to try and get 3 in 5 minutes. So I've been doing this NaPoWriMo thing, and I've been looking back a little bit, more nostalgic, trying not to be so doom-laden. So these hopefully are 3 hopeful ones. 13 minutes from home. I was 13 minutes from home on a warm April day, bumping my way through a crowd, the future a lifetime away. There were cars revving their engines as they crawled along the street. Kids were playing in gardens and getting under everyone's feet. Just for a second I paused as I turned into pandemic close, as the noise fell away like a corpse and the postman turned into a ghost. The cars all around ground to a halt. The planes fell out of the sky. The children screamed to be let out. An old man started to cry. I was overtaken with guilt. I would prefer it that way. Empty streets and less people and traffic to ruin a clear spring day. I breathed in the cool, clear air. I listened to birds in the trees. At last I could hear myself think, and my thoughts ran away on the breeze. I was 7 minutes from home, and reality thundered back in, and the utopia I'd seen in a vision disappeared like it never had been, and the crowd gathered round and exhaled, and on their breath there was pain, and I knew in my heart what I'd seen, I would surely see once again. The day I stepped into a dream prepared me for what was to come. Half a century away in the future, I would remember where I'd travelled from. I was 2 minutes from midnight, and all of us would bemoan what we lost. Utopia isn't always an Eden. Sometimes it brings hell as a cost.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Absolutely great.
This one is a bit of humour. We had to write about a fruit, so I went for a weird one. All hail the great sultana.
Sure.
Consider the sultana, the jewel in my porridge. It's not the kind of fruit that you can just go out and forage. It started out in life a bulbous, juicy grey, but sat out in the sun too long, and now it's changed its shape. It's dark, wizened and wrinkled like it's fallen from your nose, and probably looks like your granny when she's taken off her clothes. It doesn't rate too highly in the fruity good luck stakes, but it's a real superstar when you're baking Christmas cakes. It spices up a curry, and it's vital for a scone, and that's the real way to pronounce it, for those of you who like a moan. Mothers stick it in your lunchbox in case you want a snack to eat, and it goes well in your muesli because it's really, really sweet. So you can keep your massive melons and your berries black and blue, your apple, pears and pomegranates, strawberries and raspberries too. When you want to get the job done, I have to say the top banana is the ugly little superfruit. All hail the great sultan.
Nice one, mate. Nice one.
I'll finish with this one and then we'll do 5 minute break, or a couple of minutes break, and then we'll get back. This is called My Mother's Kitchen. I wrote a while ago about my dad, the bear in the shed, some of you will have heard, and I wanted to write one about my mum. So this is that one. My mother's kitchen. I'm in my mother's kitchen. It's a Monday afternoon. The oven's heated up the air. The buns will be out soon. Everywhere there's an aroma of cinnamon and spice. An apple pie sits on the table. I'm waiting for a slice. A black-leaded coal flyer does its best to dominate the heat and the smells that the baking permeates. An old fridge hums in the corner, washing up drying by the sink. Hot buttered scones to eat, an Ovaltine to drink. She turns to me and offers the eggshell-coloured bowl where the batter that produced the cakes has tested self-control. With a wooden spoon I scrape until the empty bowl will gleam, then I sit and smile contented, like the cat that got the cream. I'm in my mother's kitchen, in the room inside my head, with the smells of Monday baking, cakes and scones and buns and bread, and I smile again remembering those winter days so long ago, in a place of warmth and comfort from the January snow.
That was lovely.
Thank you.
That was great.
Right. Thank you so far to all the readers. We have another half to come, so go grab a drink, go have a pee,
Yeah, whatever.
go have a scratch where people can't see you, go put some trousers on, Lorenzo. But come back in 2 minutes and we'll start again. Jackie's not back yet, and Lorenzo's.
Yeah, macho man. Macho man.
Someone forgot to mute themselves.
Not as bad as the Spanish guy, huh? There was some news guy that apparently had his mistress in the background, and his girlfriend was surprised because she walked by wearing just like very little on the news.
I think a few of these have been crashed, haven't they? We're just waiting for somebody to crash ours because we've got a line of insults for anybody who wants to get their dick out. Right, I think we'll make another start then. Thanks so far, everybody. We'll crack on. Random number. Ooh. So starting our second half is a regular at the Write Out Loud Wigan night. A lovely lady. Please welcome Jackie Pemberton. Come back. Where have you gone? Jackie, it's you. You're next on, Jackie.
Uh-oh.
You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah. Unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
I went to turn the landline off because my mum might phone me. So both on the theme of COVID. First one's just called Missing. Sorry.
You recording, Johnny?
Right. Missing. Our skin is rice paper thin, sore from sanitizing, moisture starved. We wash our hands to the muted ghosts of happy birthday. Hands that once held a grandchild's trust, tender as a flower, have withered and gone grey as playground swings turn to rust. Do not disturb the gathered dust on unplayed toys in empty rooms, or wipe away the fingerprints collaged on your window pane. Wait for the children to return again. And the next one is, I've attempted to describe this, this thing which we're all familiar with now, under the microscope. On first sight, it could have been an undiscovered planet, an exotic flower, or a sea anemone. We might have puzzled at its origin, being bewildered by its purpose. What might have been soft rosebuds to scatter on a lover's bed are lethal blooms, stamens spiked with lipid poison to pierce our defences when we are at our weakest. This blurred orb mutates on our screens from science lab to primetime TV, excreting globules like molten rock, multiplying even as we hold our breath and close our eyes. It is the wallpaper in our rooms, curtains our mornings and our evenings, embeds itself into the woodwork, tucks into every frightened corner, and steals the cushions of our dreams. Latching on to the lining of our lungs, it tears straight to the heart of us, hijacking cells in a forced and fatal coupling, a brutal consummation, a pitiless gestation.
Good, Jackie. Right, next up, he's going to have to be quick as sharp. Get rid of that pet, Sean Fallows. I can see him there, your little mate. One of my mates from Wigan. It's a Wigan seam coming up here, like looks of it, lad. All right, new book out. New book out now, haven't you? Over to you, mate. Over to you. Sean Fallows, everybody.
Hey.
Hey.
Right. This one, this is from my little cousin. He's about 5, and I just love, like, they've no hold back factor when the kids, they just say whatever they want when they sort of see me wheelchair and stuff, and I find that dead refreshing. So this is called The Prince of the Puddles. The Prince of the Puddles is 5 today, so he told the man next to him on the bus, who was busy impersonating a living ashtray. The bus that took him to some new trainers, the light blue Adidas Gazelles that ran around some drenched tourists waiting for perfect selfies in the British classic grey. The Prince of the Puddles is 5 today, already stopped the trainers, watching a bird bathing in placid lake of after spray. That bird taking liberties as if washing in Lake Como, when mists meet mountain and you don't know which is which. The Prince of the Puddles is very glad rain's not dry or shy, but what else lives in the sky? And what more do you want when you're 5? The Prince of the Puddles is 5 today, and he's asked the clouds to stay, because this has been his bestest day. Thank you.
Yeah.
So when I get out of lockdown, when I'm released, I can't wait to go and find a bench and just sit for ages and spilling ice cream on my pants again like I did in Blackpool. So this is called The Seaside Wonders of a Plastic Spade. In the happiness of the sunshine's brief gloss, the seagulls, in a stubborn attempt to show who's boss, sift through bits of chips and candy floss, while the old folks ramble for the nearest shade on benches just by the hypnotic arcade, complaining about the states of the overspirited trade. Where else but here could these fickle thoughts be made? Where else but here could these fickle thoughts be made? The seaside wonders, the seaside wonders, the seaside wonders of a plastic spade. Women watch their husbands, occasionally stopping to admire the luxury of window shopping, and their children, whining for ice creams, are easily distracted. Now they're not thinking of chocolate streams until the next moment, it seems. Where else but here could these fickle thoughts be made? Where else but here could these fickle thoughts be made? The seaside wonders, the seaside wonders, the seaside wonders of a plastic spade. It could all end in tears. God bless the old days and those side street shops selling sad souvenirs. So where else but here could these fickle thoughts be made? The seaside wonders, the seaside wonders, the seaside wonders of a plastic spade. Thank you.
Sean.
Yeah, this next poem, just the last short one, is it's about a time when I went for some counselling, and I think it's a time that a lot of people go through, and hopefully I don't have to go back in it again after this lockdown thing. But it's called When I Found Myself, and I always used to say with the counsellor and stuff, we used to chat for ages, and then when I couldn't find any answers, I used to always end up kind of quoting Jan song lyrics, just random song lyrics, and I don't think she ever realised that I was quoting lyrics. But this is called When I Found Myself. She always smiled and ended with, "Take care and mind how you go," which led me to believe, in the world, you never know what you know. Is this it? Do we just play the part? Then you rush to rate my happiness on the happiness chart. When I found myself, it was quite bad for my health. I gave you all my shit, and then I thought until I felt okay. And then I left singing my way. And now the end is near, still you tell me nothing's certain. Quite often, thanks to my tendencies of rhythm and rhyme, I quote some random lyrics to stop the boredom, set some mischief on time. And my safe place is the safest place of all those places. 1,000 lovely girls, and I keep a smile on all their faces, 'cause I'm almost Hercules strong, saying, hey, what took you so long? But when I found myself, it was quite bad for my health. So can you tell me why so often my mind begins to lean like the turret peak, just another gushing pleaser? Because you can't always be a crowd pleaser. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, before I introduce the next poet, I know quite a lot of people on here are from the Wigan poets, and those who aren't will know the guy I'm talking about. One of our brothers has very sadly lost his brother, his actual brother, in the last fortnight due to COVID-19, which is George. And it was the funeral today, and the funeral today was on the same day that his wife sadly passed away a few years ago. So he's been hit double hard. So I'm sure people might point him at this, but whether you know him or not, if you would, I'd just like us all to give George a round of applause, because he's a great guy. The reason I mentioned that is somebody who's helped him a lot, particularly today, is reading for us tonight. She's a beautiful poet. She's also one of Jeff's herd of poets over in Bolton, Right Out Loud. She's going to read for us now. Please welcome Hilary Walker.
On mute. Hi. Yeah, it was George's funeral today, George's brother's funeral today, and
It was very sad, obviously, because there was only a few people there, but I think we managed to make it a memorable occasion, or the right kind of occasion for George anyway. So first poem is about the coronavirus. It's in the new Coronaverses anthology, which I know Ian is in as well. There's quite a few local poets in. Janine Booth has put this together very quickly, and there's some really good stuff in it. My poem is called Human Touch. The first human language is touch. Instinctive, automatic, second nature. Touch comes before sight, before speech. Skin on skin begins each individual journey. In life, in death, in times of great despair, touch is there. We reach out, we grasp hold, sustained, soothed by human contact. We respond to those in need, hand on hand, heeding their pain. But when touch declares war, when touch becomes the enemy, when touch brings the biggest global threat the world has known, our lives are turned around, thrown upside down, postponed, cancelled indefinitely. We retreat and seek a different kind of empathy with our fellow man, find new ways to care, to just be there, virtually communicating a means of healing, technically alleviating anxious feelings of intense sorrow, heart on heart, until tomorrow, when the world will reopen and invite us back to living, when the sun will shine and mankind will be forgiving, when we will appreciate all that we ever had and all we ever needed to survive, when tears dry and smiles grow and the power of human touch is restored in all its glory, skin on skin, hand on hand, heart on heart. The first human language is touch.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Very good.
Thank you. Second poem is, I wrote it for the Live from Worktown, are doing Worktown words every couple of weeks. And they pick 10 out and feature them, and they give you a theme. And this was the first one that they did. The theme was spring. And so this is my poem for that. It's called The Springer. We waited until spring, in need of a special day to say goodbye. A day we felt she would have chosen. Clear blue sky, leaves unfolding in surprising warmth, and the familiar scent of beginnings, the return of life blended with nature's secrets. She was a runner. From an early age, she craved freedom. A walk around the block wouldn't do. It was running or nothing. She flew fast over the fields beyond the hedgerows, through the woods at top speed, somehow just missing the tips of shoots and saplings, excitedly bounding forward, heading up high onto the banking, a pause for a moment in the cool stream, and a look on her face that said, "This is why I'm alive." She was more than a dog, and she knew it. She had no time for mere mortals or animals. She was her own woman, a canine princess who left us before winter solstice, dark days to survive. We waited until spring to say farewell, releasing her tearfully into a flawless sky, recalled clearly in our mind's eye her perfect presence in our lives, the gift that she was, the lessons she taught, running free, and the glory of being alive. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers.
Pass.
Right. I did a gig over Tinternet last Saturday, which Jeff was on as well, which was called, and I'm cleaning this up for the Lancashire audience so we don't soil your ears, Poetry's Not Flipping Boring. And it featured, as well as me and Jeff, a couple of punk poets from Yorkshire. One of them, sadly, can't get online to do this. He's tried, but he can't. The other one I can see, so I know he's online. So please give it up for Yorkshire punk poet, Kieran Lee Higgins.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. You all right? Yeah, some very good stuff. I like to go to new kind of events and kind of meet everyone. Of course, we can't meet everyone virtually right now. So yeah, this one I didn't do last Saturday because I was getting sick of doing it. This one's about COVID. It's called Down with the Sickness. I'm washing with hand sanitizer and being none the wiser to fend off COVID in a form of resistance whilst constantly screaming at folk to please keep the distance. As like the police said, don't stand so close to me, as the BBC feeds us more depressing tripe. Chuck D was correct, don't believe the hype, as we panic buy, but we miss the big issue. Like why we're fighting ourselves over the last toilet tissue. But if you poor souls are still searching, but there's none to be had, nothing says I'm clean now like wiping with a Brillo pad. News just in, more people dying, don't visit others or shake a hand. This fear is embedded now, it makes us feel less grand. But in hindsight, nothing spreads faster than media paranoia and phony internet lies. We all get sucked into this melting pot while people drop like flies. Just remember to clean your hands 26 a day and scrub away, scrub away, scrub away the COVID away. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bit of an X-ray specs reference there. The next one is if you ever do come to sunny California, as I'm now calling it, there's a bar called the Meandering Bear. I was commissioned to write a poem about it. The Meandering Bear was basically a poem that went for a wander because we used to have a zoo back in the 1800s, something like that, 1913. And this is basically a story on it. It's very childish. Are you sitting comfortably? Pull up a chair and I'll tell you the story of the Meandering Bear. On June 17th, 1913, our dear Halifax had a zoo. This bear went for a wander, as all good bears should do. With this news, panic and terror swept across the streets. Like, what if this bear is hungry? One of our children it eats. But on its journey, it changed its mind to reside in Ellenwood, and ended up in Siddle, as all good bears should. After scoping Jubilee Street far and wide, this unstoppable bear was captured, no place to hide. So ladies and gents, let this be a lesson indeed. Always keep your bear on a chain or a lead so it doesn't run amok in our quaint little town. It scares old ladies and puts babies to a frown, because it might have already pulled up a chair to tell you the story, the Meandering Bear. Cheers. I'll just quickly give you this one. I'm a bit of a scar boy at heart. I just got a reminder that I was seeing the specials last year. I was supposed to see them in Halifax this year, but that's a no-go. This is called Scarred for Life, and I'll try to do it very, very fast. I wasn't born in 1969, but when I hear this music, I feel just fine. That infectious Jamaican brassy beat with two docs on, I start to move my feet. What is this music I hear calling from afar? Ladies and gents, it's Scar. The braces are on, I'm shaving my hair, I'm working on that rude boy stare, but tonight there ain't going to be no fights as I'm out there jamming to the scatter lights. Bob Marley wasn't Rasta always, don't you know? He once sung a Scar cover of Go Jimmy Go. He traded in suits for authentic dreads, rebel power and less fashionable threads. Whether he'd decipher a Prince Buster or a fan of Terry Hall, there's no bad manners here. This music is love and free for all. A skanking class, working class beat. There's too much pressure. They call it madness out here on the floor with one step beyond the S for more, more, more. Children set the scene in the UK. Boy, you got to show love to Studio One back in the day. Windrush Jamaican youth and a British working class formed in a culture that's built to last. Two-tone rocked against racism. A unity formed in black and white. And being a skinhead means in this scene, you don't believe in none of that rubbish that came with the trite. So dust off that return of Django 45 and bring that dance floor back alive. Punks, skins and attentive ears, we all know the drill. Let's go take that train, the last train to Scarville. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. Brilliant stuff. Hey, we've got some a right variety of poets on here, haven't we? Now, somebody else who's travelling on the internet, all the way from sunny Southport. Will you please welcome another regular attendee at Wigan Write Out Loud, Mr. Phil McNulty.
Thank you very much. This first one is called Jog On. And I wrote it before the epidemic. but it's even more valid now, to be honest. I live in Southport, a seaside town, with a fairground, a beach, a coastal road, a promenade. No, I don't live near the fairground. I live in a house in a proper area. But I use the coastal road to drive to Liverpool. And up there's a retail park with a sports centre. And people go running from the sports centre, particularly women in lycra. And they jog or stumble or walk and jog and walk and stumble to the nearest roundabout, about 100 yards. Then jog and walk and stumble back. And they're always carrying water, always. And you see them stopping to drink and checking their special watches, which can't be telling them how far they've got to go because they can see the roundabout. And it can't be telling them how far they've come because they can see the gym. They must be checking how long it is since they've had a drink, how long since their last Mars bar, how long till lunch, how long till dehydration, how long till the onset of desertification in the area, because of course then you definitely need water. Until then, they should stop buying runners' high-tech watches, stop buying gym memberships, because they always stop going after 6 weeks. Stop buying special runners' multicoloured plastic water bottles with dome lids and straws like babies. Stop buying lycra. It's a hot, sweaty, horrible material that dehydrates you and makes you thirsty. Ah, just realised. That's why they need the watch and the water bottle. Clever marketing. Thank you. Okay. I've never seen so many, honest to God, I've never seen so many people wobbling past my house as I have in the last 5 weeks. It's quite disgusting, to be honest. This is more serious. Since mid-March, I've been posting quite a lot of critical comment on the internet. And you know, some people aren't happy with that because they'd like the world just to be a happy place. But the fact of the matter is things haven't been going very well. This is called Trapped by the Powers. I realise now that it was anger, rage, against the decisions made, against the nonchalance of our leaders, the unpreparedness. We'd seen it in other camps, tearing through the crowded streets, alleys and byways, eviscerating. You and I had talked of it, had read about these communities, contacted friends there, studied, did the sums, understood that some leaders do well and some do badly, very badly. So you and I pasted posters to fences and shop fronts, told neighbours, many of whom scoffed, that we must test and trace, have social distance and good hygiene, wear masks, support our nurses, stay at home. But the leaders said they were right, that we were the best camp, we would rise above. And filled with jingoistic hubris, many believed them. But we can read graphs, we can understand statistics. We thought maybe, just maybe, they wanted to clear the slums. We could not continue painting in grey while others partied, so avoided the news, the piling bodies, became isolated in a torpor mixed with ennui. We were saved by the fence. It needed repairing, and that was good. Now, we work hard on the fence and wait for the illness to come. Thank you.
Hello, Phil. Mr. Phil McNulty, last seen appearing on the newspaper letters page. I saw you, mate. I saw you there. I saw you. Our correspondent from the newspaper. Thanks everybody for waiting. You are on the list. I am just generating these. I can see everybody's name, and everybody's name is on my list, so you will be on. Thanks for hanging on with us. Next one up, please welcome someone I'm not sure I've met before, but we may have done. As you all know from Wigan Right Out Loud, I am bloody hopeless at remembering names and faces. But this time, please welcome Heather Sharp.
Hi, I have been to a couple of them, but I've not been able to come for a while. But I have been trying to get back down. But I have been before Spear Court. I'm going to do 2 poems. One called End of the Day and one called Trees Are Green. The first one I'm going to do is End of the Day, and it's basically about what's going on at the minute and that. But times like now may seem dark. I don't know when, but I promise things will get brighter. One day, we'll be able to hug the ones we love, go for coffee, stay shopping, chatting, and enjoying our loved ones' company. We'll look back at these times and say it was hard, it was tough, but we got through it. We'll remember people lost, even if they were just someone we knew. We remember the people on the front line, the nurses, doctors, co-workers, shop workers and factory workers. End of the day, times may seem dark right now, but things will get better. End of the day, the sky will be clearer. End of the day, we will remember those who we don't get to hug their loved ones. End of the day, we will meet again some sunny day. The second one is, oops, where's it gone? Second one is Trees Are Green, and it's about like just a girl I used to look after, and she's grown up now, and she's become an adult from the girl who I used to look after. I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I never knew the meaning of that song, so your mum brought you home, and I got to visit you for the first time. I got to hold you. You were so tiny, and I made a promise that day that I would protect you, look after you. We cried as sisters, laughed at times in every way. You are my sister. I might have failed you because you went down the wrong path, got in the wrong crowd. But look at you now, on your wedding day. You look so beautiful, so grown up. You're 2 amazing kids. I make the same promise to. They say family don't end with blood. In every way that matters, you're my sister, and I couldn't be prouder of you.
Well done, Heather.
Thank you.
Don't know about anybody else. It's absolutely hissing it down out here, so I think my Wi-Fi is going a bit haywire. Just checking with Johnny. Are you going to post this recording on the Alton Courts site, Johnny?
Yeah, that'd be great. If that's all right with everyone, that'd be great.
Yeah. Anybody object to that? You got the go ahead, mate. Just thought I'd check in case I forget later on.
Brilliant.
I'm also trying to reply to people on the message as they come up, and I'm currently getting it up as private all the time. Are people seeing the messages I'm putting on there or not? And if not, how do I get rid of it going on privately?
Ian, you have to change it to
I
everyone.
think I might have got one meant for someone else, like.
So how do I change it, Jeff, from private?
Right at the bottom, there's a little drop down that says to. Change it to everyone, right at the bottom of the chat box.
Chat box.
Ah, yeah.
Change it to
Yeah.
everyone.
Oh, yeah. I just put leave my balls out of it, Jeff and Sean. It won't make any sense to anybody else, but it probably gives everybody a laugh. Okay, let's use the randomizer. I've been asked, am I doing this by balls like the FA Cup? Yeah, right. I'm doing it by a random number generator on the internet. Oh, I can't see this next performer unless they're under a different name, so we might be moving on from this one. Have we got Anna Semlien online?
Yes.
Oh, there you are, Anna. Top right. I don't usually look to the right, as people who know me will tell you. Top right. So please welcome Anna.
Hello. This poem is called My Personal Gigolo. I could call several numbers, but who wants a fumbler? So I text my ex, a sexpert, who could be a semi-pro, an impresario. Would he please be my gigolo? Though we no longer date, I ask for his nighttime rate. No one is being coerced. This isn't a world first. We each fantasize, get wet between our thighs. Yes, I've masturbated, but I'm still not sated. My libido wants a gigolo. I shouldn't have left him. No one can best him. He's a man who can, with his hands, on a pedestal of superlatives, for the loving he superbly gives. As great technique and obviously he studied diligently or had loads of practice. Anyway, the fact is, his loving rock is top of the cocks, a virtuoso gigolo. It's not him that's hustling, it's me that wants his muscle in, yet he lives too far away for regular foreplay. Normally I'd look elsewhere, but with this lockdown, it just isn't fair. And there's social stigma on escort hanky-panky. Yet I am horny for lubrication, admitting my desperation. I am a desperado for a gigolo. It's not illegal to buy sex. He texts, I'd pay for company. Only the lonely would ever do this. Well, I'm confessing that I'd love his, to bask in the afterglow from him being my gigolo. Was my desperate text the act of a sex pest to ask for bedroom action as a paid transaction? It's self-employment with extra enjoyment, with transactional analysis, sanction and anal kiss. There's quandaries and boundaries in the scenario of gigolo. Yet my mind's eye plays reruns of our awesome twosome fun. As a gigolo is, you know, a societal no-no. But in my head, he is my Romeo. So would he ever come and drink cocoa as my personal gigolo?
Of course.
Okay, this one is about lockdown. We are locked up in lockdown, each home a cell block, blocking this virus from going viral. No flocking. Each clocking it's wise to stop our lives interlocking, blockbusted, blockaded, roadblocked, deadlocked, not gridlocked, growing dreadlocks, sucking lockets, locking the stable door after the proverbial horse has bolted. Who has the key to unlock this malarkey? Who's clocked it, can unblock it, or have we been locked up and the key thrown away, lock, stock and barrel? Few are locking horns, most tug forelocks with the blockheads, and we're stuck in grim wedlock with hemlock. So lock heed my warning, as the locked lockers of hoardings, we've been fucked by the pillocks in lockstep. What's next? Where are our tests? We are grieving each morning. Thank you.
I think I'm going to check with Johnny again whether we can put it live on the Old Course website.
Just put it on really later.
Of course you can.
18 tab. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Good stuff, Anna.
Thank you.
Right, next we've got another long list of ladies here. Another regular, the Old Courts Wigan. I had a laugh when she used the nickname I've got for her on a description on here, because butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. But please welcome Vicky, also known as Auntie Ranty.
Thank you. I've got 2 poems to read. I'm going to try and do them from memory, but bear with me because I might not be any good at it. So this first one's called Monster. There's a creature stirring, a monster of sorts. It lives in my house and it doesn't like sports. It's covered in hers, and I have to admit, I mistook it at first for a feminist. It's been roaming the house now for maybe 2 weeks with its blanketed shoulders and food in its cheeks. Its skin is the palest of pale shades of white. It'll recoil and hiss when it sees the daylight. Its clothing is scruffy, its tummy is plump, it's almost the image of Stigger the Dump. It empties the cupboards, the food's always gone, its eyebrows have recently merged into one. It looks more and more like a beast every day, its hairs stand on end and they bend every way. I must take precautions, it's for my protection. So I've covered the mirrors to hide my reflection. During the lockdown, I've been working from home, and one of my favourite things to do is put my music on really loud and just sing, which is it's really unfortunate for my parents because I'm terrible at singing. So that kind of inspired this poem, which is called When I Sing. When I sing, my vocal cords don't comply. I miss the notes when they pass by. When I sing, I notice those surrounding, covered ears and faces frowning. It sounds akin to someone drowning. When I sing, it can be rock, country, pop, metal, opera, jazz, hip hop. Any genre is a flop. My mum begs, Vicky, please, just stop. When I sing, hissing tomcats do surround a choir of cats I have found to contrast with the howl of hounds, and tremors run across the ground as corpses in their graves roll round. When I sing, there's waves of tutting, sighing, children within range start crying. My Kate Bush impression, terrifying. I don't know why I'm even trying. The RSPCA come prying, since it sounds like several cats are dying, and they probably are when I sing. Thank you.
Well done, Vicky. We know a couple of people like that, Jeff, don't we? Hey, Vicky, you were well brave there. The one time that anybody can actually put paper under the PC and read it, and you have to do it by memory. Can't believe it.
I normally get too nervous.
Next up, we break the run of young ladies. This time, well, I think we do. Let's have a look at him. Oh, aye. Please welcome to the virtual microphone, Kev Horbin.
Hey!
Hey!
Evening, folks.
Evening.
Evening. This first one's called Written End. Written into jeans like stars, written across the night sky. The dark holds different fear. The moon, wind, trees suggest a different, albeit strange event here. Roll up wherever you are. What brings me here, I ask? A last gasp, an illusion of choice, a vague memory, distorted. A million questions not asked, like floors and floors of open doors that will take a billion years to answer and close. Anyway, now I'm here, waiting for it to appear, a ghost of some path, a percentage of myself, a curtain half drawn, a bath half full, a drink half drank, and a soul half dead. I follow the same stars home, a path I've walked too many times. I close my eyes and think the fear, moon, trees, choice, memory, open doors, ghosts, things half done. My eyes open then close like a camera. Click, click. I breathe in and realize this nightmare will never end. First one.
Nice one, Kev.
Second one's called I Hide. I want to taste your last breath. I want to be there when you go blind. I want to slip inside your sorrow, see the moments you try to hide. You always ask to turn the lights off. You always leave the door ajar. I want to melt into your beauty, kiss you underneath the stars. See the sun and moon as scars and carry gently away your heart. I want to taste your sorrow. The sun is low in the sky. I want to slip inside your last breath. The steam rises from your body. I want to be the moments that you hide. And I think I've got time for the last one.
Go on then, get in, lad.
This is 20 years old, this. I written this 20 years ago. Let's share a second glance. Let's share 1 second of chance. Let's share a piece of this decade. past, the fucked up 90s that lasted so long and felt so cold, apart from the warmth of the fire of home. Let's share a second of time. Let's share the last of this line. Let's share a piece of this decade past, a decade of colours of such contrast, a decade of sadness, a decade of laughs, a decade that stabbed me in the back.
Thanks, Kev. Well done, Bear.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Right, young lady from Wigan, Write Out Loud. Glad to see they've all turned up, and I'm really, really pleased. Thank you, everybody, for staying on and supporting other poets who are drawn later, because it really matters. Obviously, we didn't want to see people disappearing, and I think we've only lost one or two, and there's obvious reasons for some of those. So, please welcome my little mate from Wigan, Maria.
Hey.
Come on down, Maria.
Hello. I've got 4 poems, and the first one is about, I suppose you could say, about contemplating black holes, and I would get sucked into a black hole. This one's called Love is a Black Hole. Love is stars in the sky above the clouds, and the hot sun, like a big egg yolk, is only another star. And there are stars that have a diamond core, the big ass, bigger than a black hole. Love is a black hole. You just get thrown in faster than the speed of light. You won't even notice until it's too late. After the event arises, it's a dark world, and love will pull you apart, strip you of your very being. Love turns and twists particles, changing you. They smash into each other, and some are never even the same again. You leave one universe through the black hole, and you go to another as one alone or as one together. Thank you.
Hey.
I have another poem, and it's more to do with the current situation. It's about going for a walk and what you see. It's called Walk Through COVID-19. What do I see on walks? I see mirages, not oasis waterholes in scorching deserts, but in the April heat. Mirages of ghosts of people that once used to be in the towns, in the streets I know so well, and I go out to touch and intermingle, caress as such. Things I used to do, love, kiss, hug, and grasp the thin, cold earth. Amongst the scorching sun, all the street is empty. With the dance of the waltz of the zombies sneaking by, they repel at once. And dare not look in the eyes for fear of deep-seated fear. COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. It's etched there in the cloudless, unpolluted sky, faint, unseeable, hiding in plain sight, seeking the stragglers that go by. And so on my walk, there are no people, just zombies. Thank you.
Well done, Maria. Brilliant. Next up would have been the guy who hosted our punk event last Saturday, and he has desperately tried to get on, but I think his Wi-Fi is seriously letting him down. But we may see him in future. His name's Luke Tatty Hogarth, and he's a really good punk poet, but we're not going to get a chance to see him. But I thought I'd give him a call out because he probably will watch it tomorrow. We've got 2 more poets left. So thank you all for waiting for the last two. Please welcome Musarat Rahman.
Years now. I'm Bradford fit. Hi folks, I'm from Bradford. Nice to see you all.
Yorkshire, Yorkshire.
Never mind, you can always move.
Writing a little bit, so I wrote one called Working Class. I'm classed as an essential key worker, not in most people's eyes. I'm the lowest of the low. How far can you really go with that terminology? To that place you detest the most, because you think it's worthless, but now its value is really showing. Worth its weight in gold. Ask me how I am feeling. The reality of what I am dealing. In my blue gloves, my mask adorned. My tiredness shows my face is worn. With some stress, my head's not a mess, but my body's ready for my bed. Stiff and achy, enough said. I still crack a smile, but all the while, people's families are all locked up inside, and I'm working with their parents old. Why aren't they in their world? Me, the stranger, doing your job, your duty, as you're afraid, so you need to be duty-free. Don't place extra demands on me. I do think maybe or maybe not, coronavirus will knock on my door, but I stop and move my mood to a better place, where I can think from in grace, rather than fleeting moments of torment or lament. By having no thank you to the sharp bus times, when I miss a bus I can only say fine. So ode to you, Bradfordian world, as I sit down with a cup or two and wine unfurled, with a cup and eat my supper. So that's the first one. And I've only got one as well. A moment eclipsed me, flew by, turning into eternity. I feel you, I sense you, I know you, I want you, written in thoughts that greet me first. I know, have always known, what you see in me that no one else can see. I don't need eyes to know you outside in. And I've got a really short one, and then I'll be done. In the morning when I awake, I listen to sounds that pass by. Birdsong, cars, or a cry. Of joy, of growth, of life and death in these times of change. Our lives have been rearranged, in which we experience life lessons, growth, insights, little bites of a future not yet written, still coming into being. That's it.
Well done, Musarat. Right, last point of the night, and then I'll do a few thank yous. So he's done well to wait on. I got a message from him saying, I want to be on the open mic. I said, well, get you on, but he is 24th on the list. Please get it up for Roy Page.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Well, because this is based in Wigan, I thought I'd write a poem about something you know something about. It's called The Pie. I wonder who made the very first pie, where it was, or even why. A pie is made from pastry around the outsides, with a variety of fillings of different kinds. The Egyptians were first to make a pie, but it was overcooked. It was mummified. Then the Romans caught on. They thought they had the answer. With beef and tomato, they called it lasagna. Pythagoras, now he was a clever man. His intelligence was high. And he came to a conclusion one dinner time that MC squared equaled pi. Goliath was floored by David's ducker, and it was a well-known fact that he was partial to a pucker. Old Henry VIII told his 6 wives to make sure he got lots of pies at the banquet when he was fed, or they would surely lose their heads. And in the African jungle amongst the tribes, you sometimes find the natives eating snake and pygmy pies. At Sweeney Todd's barber shop in Old London town, where a haircut and shave cost a shilling, but at Mrs. Lovell's pie shop next door, you could end up as part of the filling. Even Adolf Hitler, so evil and nasty, would never say no to a pie or a pasty. And they say Neil Armstrong took a Frey Bentos pie on the Apollo 11 mission, but they left it there on the moon because they forgot to take a tin opener with them. Pies are eaten at half time when you're at a football club, or when you're calling at the chippy on your way back from the pub, or when you're at the seaside with your wife and kids. But watch out for them seagulls, because they like to pinch your chips. So next time you pie into that pastry, remember that pies are part of our history. From chicken balti to beef and onion, New York, Rome, Paris, London. See a pie in all its glory, because yes, each one tells a different story. So, while we're on about food, while we're on the food subject, I'll just do this one, and this is called My Chips. When you're out and about and you're having a drink with the woman you love and your arms are linked, then you start to feel peckish and you fancy some chips. In fact, you're so hungry, you start licking your lips. So you say to your wife, "How about you?" But she acts all girly and says, "I'll just have a few of yours." So you try to stay calm, but you know what's coming. And you try to encourage her to have a chip muffin. "No," she says, "I don't want many," but you don't really want her to give her any of yours. So you get your chips and you walk outside, but as soon as she tries one, it's, "Oh, these are nice." And she's talking to you, but it's not sinking in, because she's taking your chips and shoveling them in. So you start to panic and you squeeze the bag tight, but she's digging in deep. She's up for the fight. So you say those words and she stops chewing. You start to panic. What the hell am I doing? "I thought you weren't hungry," were my words of regret. "Stick 'em up your ass then, you tight get." Well, we head off home and I know I can't win. So I screw up my chips and throw them in the bin. Women.
Oh God, right, we've all been there, mate.
Nice one.
Have we got anybody online who wants to read a poem who hasn't done yet or didn't log on for us? We've got time if any. I can't see anybody. Right, okay. Thanks, guys. I want you all to give a big round of applause to the person who made this possible by providing the platform. Please give it up. Top left, Old Cots, Wigan, Johnny.
Hey.
Thank you, Johnny.
Listen, we're going to do it again, I think, aren't we, Johnny? I don't know when. I think we can probably do it more than once a month if people are up for it. But obviously, if numbers fell off a bit, then we'd have to think about just maybe going monthly. But what we'll do, if you like the Open Mic Wigan page on Facebook, what Johnny does is post it from the Old Courts page, and I put it on there. The other thing I would say is the Old Courts putting a lot of online content on at the moment from bands and artists who are not able to perform at the moment. So if you don't know about it, please go find the Old Courts page and look at some of the other events that they're putting on, because they've got some really, really good acts on. And I'd like us to support that as well in the same way they've supported us. So, I mean, go and look for the Old Courts online and the Facebook page, because you'll really, really enjoy the stuff there. Obviously, if we do it again, it'll be the same format. First 25 get a spot, and then we do a reserve list. So you do need to be quick off the mark. But I can't tell you yet when the next one will be. I'll have a word with Johnny, see what we can support, and obviously we'll keep it. If we keep the numbers up, then we'll keep doing it. So finally, thank you every single one of you for being online. Thank you all for contributing. Thank you all for staying online and supporting all the poets. It's been a brilliant night. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you'll come back for more. So from me to you and everybody, support everybody, give everybody a big round of applause. Yeah.
I'd like to say, Ian, thank you for putting this together, mate.
No problem.
Very good. Yeah,
It's
very
been
good.
great. Cathartic for me, mate.
Good
I
stuff.
need this. Yeah,
So a thing that said after these Zoom sessions, what tends to happen is I'm a big Laurel and Hardy fan, and what tends to happen at the end of Zoom sessions is a scene from one of the Laurel and Hardy films where they're in a car waiting to leave, and the family are at the door, but everybody wants the last word, so everybody goes, bye, and then the family go, bye, then everybody goes, bye, and nobody can be the last person to say bye. So I think what we should all do is, at some point, is just all log off together. All right, thanks everybody. All press off now.
Bye.
Bye.